Hello everybody, Crusher Callan here, and today I'm playing Ark Survival Evolved. And in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to set up a brewery and make beer, in which you use to tame the chalicotherium. And that's also what I'll be doing. I'll be showing you how to tame a chalicotherium with the beer that you've been making. So, there's quite a few steps to taming the chalicotherium, and some of them are fairly complicated, which is why I'm doing this video for you, as many people do not know how to make a brewery, how to get the beer going, and some people even don't know how to tame the chalicotherium. So I've already done a video on actually taming the chalicotherium, but I don't think I really went in depth enough with the brewery and the beer system. So in today's video, that's what I'm mainly going to be focusing on. But I'll also make sure that I show you how you actually use your beer that you make to tame the chalicotherium. Alright, so first up, to build your beer, to start brewing your beer, you're going to need something called a beer barrel. So this is what it looks like, and you unlock the beer barrel at level 36. So you don't have to actually really be high level to tame calicos, but that is not all that you'll need to actually get beer going. You'll also need the a piping system. So I would suggest you go for the metal, just because it doesn't break so easily when people come past on Rexes or Gears for meat runs or whatever. So that they're more durable, but they do cost a little bit more. But it's not very expensive. But yeah, you will need the metal, or you will need the piping system. So the main ones you're going to need are the intake, so that actually gets the water. You're going to need the stone irrigation straight, the intersection most likely, and the vertical. The incline is not so important, and the tap is pretty much useless. You don't need it to craft the beer. So I've actually already got a brewery set up, so I'll show you how you get it set up. So we'll start at the water pipes. So I haven't really played around with it, but I've found that it's better to start with the pipe and then connect the beer barrels up to the pipe later on. So I'll just gotta try and find where we've got our pipe. So I better get off my wyvern, it's a bit annoying. The turning radius is horrible. So yeah, if I hop down here, here is the Brontos. Where is it? In here, it goes down through the Bronto's belly and into the water somewhere. Oh, here it is. So here's the intake. That makes sure that gets your water for you. So you've got to place the intake first, and then what you're going to do is you're going to have some vertical pipes going up towards your base location. So this will only really work if you live near water, because you can't make beer without water, to be honest. So you have the pipe running up here, or you have the pipe going up and in towards your base as well. So you bring it in, and then you take it to your building, wherever that may be. So what I've actually done here is I've placed it up high so it gets out of the way, because they can be a bit glitchy every now and then and get in the way sometimes. So I've built it up, and it goes down into the beer barrels. But to place the beer barrels, you need to have a pipe already existing. So you can't you have to build the pipes and then do the barrels. You can't just have the barrels floating and then connect the pipes to them. So so you have to make sure that it's actually supplying it water. A good test is just to put a tap somewhere along the pipe, and if water comes out, then that will mean that it is supplied with water. And then what you do from there is you bring the pipe all the way to your beer barrels, or where you want the beer barrels to be, and you do, it's up to you, but intersections work the best, because you can have two on either side and one on the middle as well, rather than just having one and then one and going on like that. So intersections are the best way to do it. And then once you've done that, so here I'll test it, so you place an intersection like this, and then after that you should be able to snap the beer barrels to the intersections like this. So there we are. You have to go quite a fair bit back, because it will kind of just place on the floor and all that, but you can't do that because if you don't get your pipe connected up to it right, it won't make beer, it won't produce it. It needs to be irrigated. So it's best to do the pipes first and then place it like that. So I just got to get back to the snap point. Yeah, so there you are. There you have it. So you place the beer there. So that's where the beer barrel is. And as you can see, it says irrigated. Even though it says water 0 out of 1,000, it's still being irrigated. Yeah, see, there we go. It's glitched for the first few seconds, and it, because of the pipe, it irrigates to 1,000. And then after that, you can place your next one there. And so you get this really cool shape of beer barrels that kind of floats in the air and doesn't really get in your way too much. So now that you've got your barrels actually set up, what do you need to do to make beer? So to make the beer, you're going to need two main ingredients, and that is thatch and berries. So you put about 300 thatch in each, or maybe about 300 thatch, and then you put maybe 400, 500 berries in each. It doesn't matter if you've got a few slots left, because the beer will still produce. So that's what you need to put in the beer barrel. And so what happens is, after a period of time, I'm not sure how long it is, but it is fairly long. It might be like 5 or 6 hours, I think. It'll produce a special a liquid called beer liquid. So that now that you've got your beer liquid, what you need to do is you need to get... Okay, thank you. You need to get some beer jars and put them into the beer barrel, and that will take up the liquid. So here you go. Here it is. You put the glass jar in, and it makes a beer jar. So now that you've got your beer jar, you're gonna just keep filling it up with beer. So now you've got your jars, you just fill it all up with beer. So these ones have been going for quite a while, so they've all got 2 liquid in it. So because I've got 5 out of all this, I'll get about 10 beers. So I'm already run out of jars, so I'm gonna have to get some more now. Just in here. Let me run through. So it's also always good to make a ton of jars beforehand, so you don't have to make it as you go and look for resources. So I made about 50, and I'm already running low. Quite amazing. Right, so we come along through here to the beers, to the beer barrels. So that one's already been taken. I'm pretty sure I already got this one, didn't I? Yep. So then you've got these ones over here, which you put the beer in. So this one's actually made 3, surprisingly. So then you get these ones. This one's only got 2, so you put the jars in, get the beer. I've already got that one actually. And then there's another one just over here, and with another 2 liquid in it. And so there you have it. There's your beer jar. So you don't actually have to put beer in the fridge because it doesn't spoil. And its description is So it doesn't spoil, so you can carry it on you for as long as you like, and it will never run out. It will always be full. You'll never lose your beer. But just so you can remember where it is, I just like to put it in one of the fridges. So here we have it in here. I've already got quite a bit of beer made beforehand from those jars, so I've got 24 all up. So yeah, that's the basic process of making a brewery. So it can be quite tough getting the pipes to work out and figuring it all out, but beer barrels are quite cheap. It's only the metal that's so expensive, and that's only 80, so it's not hard to get that much. But yeah, it will require a bit of fiddling around to get it to work out, like I have here. But once you've got it going, it'll keep going forever. The water will supply it. If you just fill it up with berries and thatch, it'll keep producing beer over a period of time. So, now that you've got your beer, what are you going to do with it? Well, the chalicotherium is the only... Oh, actually, the beer does have a special effect as well. I suppose I could test it out just here. So, you used to be able to use beer on dinosaurs to make them... herbivores to make their health regenerate really quickly, but you can't do that anymore. Only veggie cakes are possible, or only veggie cakes do that now. But yeah, so you can get your beer and drink it, and it gives you a special status effect that lasts about 2 minutes. and that is it gives you extra insulation, reduced water consumption, reduced stamina, increased damage and resistance. So you don't have to drink water as much, you don't have as much stamina, you do more damage and you'll take less damage. So it basically just makes you really strong at the cost of a lot of stamina. As you can see, my stamina's going down really quickly. So, and it makes your screen all a weird fuzzy colour, as though you're drunk. So, but yeah, it's not really that great, to be honest. It doesn't do that much for you, except for get annoying as you can't run around the place, and I'm not sure if the damage and resistance buff is that much, really, to be honest. So, but there is a better alternative, or not a better alternative, sorry, but there's a better use for the beer, and that is to tame the mighty Chalicotherium. So the Chalicotherium is a herbivore that you'll find strolling around the forests, but most often in the snow biome, actually. So I would suggest it's a passive tame as well, and so I'd suggest for passive tames you should always wear ghillie, because it means that you are much less likely to be detected when you're trying to feed it. And you're gonna want to build a trap so it won't just jump off a ledge or get eaten by something. So I've got a trap or a taming pen of some sort. So I've already actually got one at hand. It's a basic design, but it works well enough. It keeps it in a, you don't want them in small areas, otherwise they're aggro on you. You want like a medium-sized trap. So I think I've gone for a 7x4 size trap, and that's easily enough to keep them in, and but make sure they're like to keep them in and be able to make it so they don't aggro on you as easily. So, and then after you've drunk your beer, you've got a hangover effect, which means stews have no effect, reduced water, insulation and stamina, decreased damage and resistance. So it basically reverses all the effects that you had just before. So I'm going to put on my ghillie armour, as that means that you will not, it means that you won't be detected as easily. And I'm just going to put this thatch away as well. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend you drink beer. It doesn't leave you with too good of a status effect, to be honest. So yeah, I just got to get back to the main building and carry the beer. So for a 150 calico, sorry, you will need 37 beer on 1 times. But if you've got a system like us, where we've got a whole heap of barrels, and they produce beer, if you keep them filled up, they'll produce beer quickly. It's not really that hard to get 37, really. So yeah, that's how much it'll take for a 150. I'm not too sure how long or how long it is on 1 times. It's about 50 minutes, so it will take a while to tame, and it is following them around the whole time. I forgot the beer. But yeah, so it is just following them around the whole time, feeding them, which is what I'll show you how to do that. But yeah, so you're gonna need to pick up your beer, which makes you very heavy. It weighs a lot for a drink in a glass. But yeah, so now I'm gonna head over to the trap and show you my basic trap design that I've used. And this trap can not only be used for calicos, but it can also be used for all other dinosaurs, really. So it's just up here as well, on a flat area. Yeah, so here it is right here. You've got 2 dino gates, and then you've got the, it's a 4x7, I think, 4x7 or 6. And you've got 2 dino gates, and you've got the door frames around the side. So the door frames are there for if the calico gets really close and you have to escape. But they're also for if you are trying to tame an animal that you have to knock out. You can use them as like little holes to shoot through when dinosaurs can't get you. So the next thing you're going to need to do is pick up the calico with either a wyvern or a Quetzal. They're the only two dinosaurs or creatures in the game that can actually pick up the chalicotherium. So what you have to do is you have to look around the place for the calicos. So they usually spawn in like all forest areas on the map, but in some areas in some forests they're a bit more common than others. But probably the most reliable place that I've found is the snow. I think they spawn there way more often than in other places, but I don't know if Ragnarok's any different, because I've played mostly on the island and that's where I found them, so I would suppose it's going to be the same on a Ragnarok. So yeah, you just gotta look around. It might take you a little bit of looking to try and find the calico, but once you do, you just put it in the trap and you start chasing it around. But I'll show you guys how to do that once I've actually found one. And we are back finally with the calico. So I spent a very long time trying to find this level 135, and I wasn't looking all day, but I spent a lot of my time looking for one. I went all through snow, through a lot of forests. I pretty much looked all over the map and I couldn't find one. And then finally I found this level 135 calico. So now I'm going to show you guys the taming procedure. So what you're going to need a set of ghillie armor in your beer. So like I said earlier, for a 150 on 1 times it's 38 beer, but right now this is only 135 and it's 2 times, so we're in luck today. So this one will be a much quicker tame. So what you do is you walk into the trap, you crouch with your beer in slot 0, you walk up to the chalicotherium's bottom and you press E, feed beer jar, and then you should see the taming percentage go up. And so you just gotta follow it around while it walks around the place, feeding it beer, right? You gotta make sure not to get too close, otherwise it will turn around and attack you, and I'm pretty sure if it turns around and attacks you, you lose you lose a bit of taming effectiveness, or the taming bar may actually go all the way down. I'm not 100% sure about that. And I do know that if the chalicotherium gets attacked by something else, the taming effect or the taming bar will go all the way back down to 0. So you have to make sure you've cleared out the area where your trap is first before you start taming, because you don't want something running in, attacking your calico. No matter how small it may be, it'll bring the taming right down to 0. So a bit of a cue when to feed it is usually when he does his poo. A little while after that, he should be ready to be fed again. So he's done 1 poo, as you can see over there, sitting in the taming pen. A little while after he's done his poo, he should be ready to be fed again. So it's good when they just sit in the corner like this, because they just don't move for a while. And yeah, so I think you guys get the idea. You just chase him around, feeding him this, or feeding him the beer. So you'll need quite a bit, and you will need ghillie, because it makes your stealth way higher. So it means that sometimes it'll glitch, and you'll go right up behind the chalicotherium and it will attack you if you're not wearing ghillie. But if you're wearing ghillie, then it should mean that he won't attack you. He will still attack you if you go right up his bottom, which kind of makes sense. But yeah, you have to be careful even with the ghillie on. So yeah, I'm just going to keep doing this, and I'll bring you guys back once I've got this calico tamed, and I'll show you what his abilities are, what his uses are, what he harvests, and the stats. So yeah, I'll be back once I've finished giving this guy, or finished making this guy drunk. Alright, so I'll be right back. And we are back, and I've finished taming Brewery, the level 135 chalicotherium that I found in the snow. So I'm going to run through all the stats, the attacks, and everything, all the abilities, uses of the chalicotherium. So let's start it off by looking at by telling you a little bit of information about him. So I found him at level 135, tamed him with beer, which is the only thing you can tame them with, and he turned out to be level 202, so he gained a good like 90 something levels. Oh, maybe not that many, 60. Another 65, 70 levels. So, yeah. Now, his stats, or her stats, seeing as it is a girl. So, it has got 4,320 health, 1,500 stamina, 528 weight, and 250 damage. So, it doesn't have the greatest of stats. I've definitely had better Calicos, but it is only a 135, keep in mind. So, you will definitely get better stats than this. But even for a 130, this isn't too great. So, now, its attacks. So it's got 3 attacks. It's got its left click attack, which is a bite, but it's also got, like, sometimes it varies between its left click bite and its left click, like, swipe. I don't actually know how you make it bite or swipe. It's kind of weird. It does it, like, sometimes it will do a bite and then other times it will just do a swipe. So it's kind of weird, but it doesn't really matter because, as you'll see, they both do the same damage. So the chalicotherium also does have a right click attack, which is quite different to every other dino in the game, other than the rock elementals. So the chalicotherium can throw stone boulders at enemy players, dinosaurs, or structures, and it does quite a bit of damage as well. So if I show you here, you right click, he grabs his boulder and he chucks it out, aiming directly where you aim your mouse, pretty much. So it's not as, I don't think it's as great as, or it doesn't do as much damage as the rock elemental's boulder throw, and I don't think it's not as accurate, I'm pretty sure, and it doesn't go the best distance either. But if you're accurate and you're experienced with calicos, you can make the boulder throw be quite effective. And so he also has a C attack, which is like munch. Actually, wait a second. Oh yeah, so C, I don't know why, but like his C attack is exactly the same as the munch in his left click attack. See, he's doing that, and then when I press C, it's doing the exact same thing. So that's kind of weird. Alright, let's come over here to the training dummy and show you guys the damage of his attacks. So, left click, the munch does 1036, and so does the swipe. C does 921, so C is not as effective. And the boulder throw is 2,875, so that's quite a bit of damage, and it's pretty rapid firing too, so it's quite effective as well if you know how to use it. Alright, next, what do the attacks do? So left click left click collects berries as well, so both of them collect berries, so here's a big chunk of berries here. C is more of a direct berry gathering. I think it gathers more berries than using your left click. I'm not 100% sure about that. If you use the left click, it does like the same as C sometimes, but when you do the big swipe, it collects berries in a larger area. And so as you can see, I've already got quite a bit of berries, so they're pretty great berry harvesters too. But their weight lacks to carry all these berries, so I'm just going to drop them all for now. There we go. Right, so now the next thing they can harvest is they can harvest thatch from the trees with their left click attack too. So if we just come over here, if I use my left click, you'll get heaps of thatch. It's actually pretty good at getting thatch, the calicos. They're definitely one of the better thatch gatherers in the game. I'm not sure about it, but I think wyverns are a little bit better than calicos. But still, they are pretty great at getting thatch, and they're pretty easy to tame early on too, so they're probably better than a wyvern, so for early on players, as you won't have to raise it all the way from baby. You'll just have to give it alcohol and make it drunk. Right, so as you can see, we're getting quite a bit of thatch. See, there's how much thatch we've got, so quite a bit. And then he also gathers these silk from the silk bushes. I might have to drop all this stuff again. So as you can see, the weight's not too great for how much it gathers, really. and it doesn't seem to be getting much. It's getting plant species Y seeds, so that would mean that it gets quite a bit of plant species X seeds from the little X plants that you find. So as you can see, I've already got quite a bit, so it's going to be effective at harvesting those seeds as well. So the right click attack, it does way more damage, but it doesn't harvest anything, sadly, but it does knock over trees, and it can also damage thatch and wood structures. I'm not sure about adobe, but you can't damage stone, metal, or kind of obviously tech or anything like that. But yeah, so the boulder throw does a whole heap of damage to dinosaurs, as you can see, nearly killing this parasaur. Oh, it's only a level 15. Yeah, I don't think this Chalico is the greatest. I have definitely seen better around the place, but oh well. So yeah, as you can see, it's got pretty good accuracy. It tends, there's no crosshair to show you where you're aiming, but like if you imagine in the middle of the screen, and it also drops, the boulder drops quite a bit. It doesn't go exactly straight. So it'll take a little while of getting used to using the boulder throw, but it can still be quite effective. Alright, let's come around here and take out this parasaur as well. So that time it got it one shot. I don't know why that one died straight away. I think because it might have been a direct hit. If it bounces across the ground, I think it loses a bit of its damage. And I'm not 100% sure about that, but that may have been the case as to why that same little parasaur died in one shot instead of 3, I think it was. Right, there we go, the pumpkin's dead. Alright, so the next thing, the Chalico also has a another special ability in which it, if you hop off of it, and if you hold E and go into the mouse wheel, you can press sit down, and it will sit down for you. And what sit down does is it means it regenerates health pretty quickly, I'm fairly sure. Oh, what's he doing? That's a cool animation. I think that basically means he's eating. And so his health should be going up faster than usual. Doesn't seem to be going up too fast, but I'll see what it's like when he stands up. Oh yeah, it does make a difference. It's not the biggest difference, I don't think, but it is definitely better than using the so whenever it takes a bit of damage and needs healing, just get it to sit down, and it will it'll heal much quicker. Right, let's hop back on it. Now, I'm gonna go through how useful the Chalico would be in, say, raid defense or raid attack. So for early on, the Chalico can be alright for raiding little wood huts and that, because it does damage to the wood by throwing the boulders. But do keep in mind that when you throw rocks at spike walls, it actually hurts the Chalico itself, which is really weird. I don't see how the boulder getting hit into spike walls would damage the Chalico. Well, that doesn't make sense, but that's how it works. So be careful with throwing boulders into spike walls. But yeah, so they could be alright early on for raiding little wood huts. But I think their main purpose would be to set them on aggressive, or yes, maybe sit them down, set them on to aggressive, but fill them up with stone. So then they act as basically a portable turret, or like a little turret that just sits there. As you can see, because mine's not full, he will chase after them. As you can see here, he's chasing after the parasaur. But I think if you fill them up with stone, they should stay where they are and just chuck boulders instead of going in for the left click attack. So I'm not actually sure how effective it would be. I know it does a whole heap of damage, but I'm just not exactly sure how effective it would be against players and tame dinos. But yeah, it's definitely worth a try, I guess. So I'm just going to try and get it full and park it up next to something. So I'm going to put all my wood in that I've got on it as well. So it shouldn't be able to move now. So if I set it on, nah, it's still able to move. But I think, see, it just chucked its boulder then. Nah, it's still able to move. I'm going to have to get some more stuff for it. Alright, let me hop off, get some wood, chuck it on it. Right, there we are. No, stop chasing this. Draw it on. There we go, that should weigh you down, buddy. Nah, he can still move. Goodness. How full does he have to be? So now he can't move. He's watching the packy. What I want to know is if he'll keep chucking boulders, and yes, he will. So this means you could put him in a few positions above hills or in certain spots where there are other dinos, and just fill him up with stone and put him on aggressive. And so when people come into raid, he just chucks boulders in at them. And you can't set dinos to like target player only or anything, so it will attack wild dinos as well. But calicos are pretty powerful, so they should be able to withstand most dinosaurs. Right, here comes a parasaur. Yeah, so he'll get angry. He should turn around. No, he won't. That's a bit weird. Right, there we go. He can turn around now. And so he's going to chuck his boulder at the parasaur, kill it one shot. Yeah, that's pretty nice. So there's definitely potential, I think, for the chalicotherium, as it kills everything in the area. But yeah, I definitely do think there is potential for the calico as some sort of base defense before you get turrets, or even when you do get turrets, they can be pretty powerful. Because I mean, 2,000 damage is quite a bit, and especially if it's going straight to a player, they just wouldn't expect it really. So it definitely has potential, and I would like to see how it plays out on like in actual PvP, because I've never tried it before. But yeah, so the and one last thing is that the calico can also the rider, when they're riding the calico, they can also get all sorts of weapons out, so guns, crossbows, pickaxes, axes, all that sort of stuff. So you can go right up next to a tree, start chopping it down, and keep moving on rather than hopping off every time you find a tree. But yeah, so the chalicotherium is definitely a great dinosaur. I love it. I really do think the boulder throw is really useful. And I definitely think it could play a part in PvP, especially earlier on in the game. But yeah, so it's a pretty easy to tame dinosaur when you know how to set up the brewery, which I've showed you how to do. And yeah, I don't think there's really much more to it. Oh, also, what you might want to pump. I think, because the health isn't exactly too high, health would probably be a good option. Stamina is pretty high for a berry gatherer, so I wouldn't suggest pumping stamina. Weight is a little low, so you might want to get a few pumps into weight. Get it up to like 800, 1,000 or something, so you can run around and get a bit of thatch and wood and all that. And melee damage is definitely the other contender for what you might need to pump. So yeah, I think that's about it for the chalicotherium. My favourite dinosaur in Ark, and a pretty useful one too. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please do leave a like, and if you've got any feedback, put it in the comment section down below. And hopefully, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!